Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Again, I'm Governor Kristi Noem, and I wanted to come up and thank you for your time today, but also correct some inaccuracies that were a part of opponent testimony today. There was some discussion on how this impacted cities and municipalities, and I would say that in compliance to streamlined sales tax laws, legal decisions have been made in the past and evaluated the language in this bill we presented to you today, and it does allow cities to continue to collect sales tax on food if they would like to. There is legal standing, and the language is written correctly that it will allow those cities to do that if this bill is passed and signed into law. There was also some comments that talked about the fact about it being a complete elimination of a tax, and I do want you to know that if you look at the language in the bill in 1070, that it is scalable as well, that it is a rate scalable that stays in place because of compliance reasons with streamlined sales tax. So it has the same flexibility that a rate reduction does in other areas into the future, and that is so that we can continue to participate in streamlined sales tax into the future, and that we allow that kind of partnership that we've got going today to collect the revenue that is due the state of South Dakota. I appreciate the comments also as when it comes to our tribes and to the agreements that we have with them. You may have seen the formal letter that we've sent out earlier that made a commitment to our tribes that we would work with them and continue to hold them harmless as far as revenue would be if this were to be signed into law. In fact, many of our tribal members may see a double benefit. They may shop for their groceries off of tribal ground and receive no sales tax on their food, yet their tribe would benefit from a renegotiated sales tax agreement that would allow them to keep more of those revenues to their tribe and their tribal government and not have to pay the administrative fees that are necessary today within those agreements that we negotiate as a state. So those concerns we've heard and we've answered and done so formally in a response and a letter to them, and recognize that tribal members will be able to shop on or off reservation and tribal land and receive no tax on food, but still get a benefit of a renegotiated tax agreement to make them whole on anything that they may be impacted going forward in the future as well. The one thing I just want to remind you, and to take a step back as well, is that for the last several weeks, we've heard criticism of this bill as, is it sustainable? All I ask is that you put this bill on the level playing foot that you would a rate reduction and you would ongoing commitments. What you are doing, whether you cut taxes, you eliminate the sales tax on food, or if you make ongoing provider adjustments or education rate increases or state employee adjustments, that you are making an ongoing commitment for the state of South Dakota. Treat them equally. Treat them equally, recognizing that it's the responsibility of this legislature to make wise decisions looking to the future. It's one of the reasons so many businesses and families moved here to South Dakota the last several years. The certainty of it. The fact that we have a stable government, people that keep their focus on what's best here in our state. I had one of the leadership members from the House tell me last night that, well, we're not going to look 2 years into the future to see what happens if a ballot measure passes. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We'll deal with it then. Well, I would tell you today that that is extremely irresponsible. That's not how we run government in South Dakota. That's not how we make decisions here. When I brought this proposal to you, it was after over a year of analysis to see what tax cut would be the most beneficial to the people who live right here in South Dakota. We looked at adjusting rates. We looked at adjustments in property taxes. We looked at all other exemptions that we have in our state statute and recognized the one that would help this state the most and the people that live here and treat everybody fairly is eliminating the sales tax on groceries. That it's not in our job description to pick winners and losers. It's in our job description to treat everybody exactly the same. And people who live here in this state, they buy food. They all eat. And it is a bigger benefit in a family budget to lower income individuals because they spend more money in their budget on food on a weekly, monthly basis. So those folks on fixed incomes that are getting hit by inflation at the federal level right now, and that we're seeing right here in South Dakota, it will benefit them. And it will have an impact on them far into the future and allow those families to put food on the table for their kiddos. I would ask that you look to the will of the people in this state. We have been successful because we talk to our people. You questioned if the sales tax repeal on groceries was supported by the people of this state. That's why we went out the last week and a half, 10 days, to give you the data and the facts to show you this is the tax cut that the people want. And also know Be responsible enough to look into the future and see that there is a ballot measure coming that will be overwhelmingly supported by the people of this state. And as you put together a budget that looks into the future to provide certainty for businesses, certainty for retailers, certainty for families, they don't want to have to face a situation where you're dealing with two of the biggest historic tax cuts and not be able to responsibly maintain state government and end up in a situation where you're making knee-jerk reactions. To plan for the future, it's to help the people that are here and prioritize them over people that come into our state to visit us and spend time with us. We love those visitors. We love the fact that they come. But when we look at tax policy and certainty, the people of South Dakota should come first. They recognize it, and that's why we've given you the data to back up the fact that this bill should go to the floor for debate. I understand that you maybe have taken a caucus position. I get it. I'll tell you it's wrong if you kill this bill today. It's wrong if you do it because it's the wrong policy decision, and it's wrong because it's not what the people of this state want. They want to have this debate. Let us get the facts and the information in front of all of the people of the House so that they can have a full debate and hear everything that you had the benefit to hear today during this committee hearing. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And with that, I yield back, Mr. Chairman.